What's up? Just watching the Ian Carroll breakdown. Pretty sweet job. Let's see here. Just go to my main screen real quick. Yeah. So went out to the Charlie Kirk Memorial, and that was in Arizona. I was with my homie Luke Slywaker, and we had kind of wanted to go further. I did put it out, see if anybody wanted to help sponsor us to go, not being independently wealthy or having a trillion views as other people. And I think I got $10, maybe I got $20. So that did not exactly cover the next 8-hour drive to Utah, which I would have liked to do. But I didn't. And so Ian Carroll did. And I think he got some good footage, which I think may put some things to rest and maybe other things not so much. And then also, I don't know. I think some things are ruled out that I don't think are necessarily ruled out. Like, there's a few times when he's like, "Oh, it'd be really hard to take a shot from here," or there wouldn't be many places to take a shot from here. It's like, you only need one. So I don't think some of the things that he rules out are not necessarily ruled out. Some of the footage he gets is very clearly pointing out some very good things, information like why did he go under the tunnel, which kind of didn't make sense, but there's a fence there. That makes sense. And not to give you all the things in the videos, who kind of watch it, go through it together. I don't have a premium YouTube subscription, so it might play some ads in between. I'll try to minimize the effect of that. I try to scrub through it and as much as I could, but we'll see how it plays out. So yeah, let's see. We got a few people in here now. I might play a little intro just to see if we can get a couple more people in here. Again, we will be doing, just so people know, this will be about the Ian Carroll. I'll be going through all of his footage, having my commentary on what he's, saying about it. So yeah, that'll be Ian Carroll. We'll go through, we'll do the pros and cons. We'll talk about the things he's talking about. We'll talk about the things, if you guys have questions that you want to bring up, some other questions that I still have about the way this thing is and the way it's playing out, and some new things which I think are still new avenues. And again, I think I talked to people close to Charlie when I was out at the memorial, and a lot of them are not buying the official story, and a lot of them are concerned about the Israeli connection. And I was just going through some old footage of mine, which I'll be posting soon, which actually is right up close when he was in San Diego. And I was trying to find, because there was people on the rooftops. And I remember saying to Luke, I was like, are those our guys? Or, like, who are these people? Hopefully they're good people. So when people say, oh, if someone was on the roof, that would preclude, like, it couldn't happen. I mean, it kind of depends on how the person handles themselves. Like, if they know how to look official and stuff like that. A lot of people just assume, hey, those are the marksmen, or those are the snipers ready to protect. For example, like, you go to the Butler rally. I mean, did people say, oh my God, there's snipers on the roof, we got to bail? I mean, no, because there were obviously, military snipers or Secret Service snipers. So does it technically preclude that if somebody's obviously on a roof or even has a gun, that you automatically are just not going to accept and walk into the situation? Because like I said, we've done it. When I went out to the Charlie Kirk Memorial, there were people in buildings with guns, and I actually shouted up to them, like, you guys the good guys? And they're like, nodded. But just because they nodded, that doesn't really mean much. I couldn't see them close enough, but I could tell they had guns and they were on rooftops. So I'm just saying, just because someone's visible on a rooftop does not necessarily mean that that they wouldn't take a shot. And also, if it does turn out to be a shot from that position, which we have triangulated from a few different angles, it still doesn't mean that it's Tyler Robinson, because there's no real footage of him with the gun. There's no anything really tying him to the place, and there's all the weirdness that goes along with that. So still could have been a shot from that location, and still could be a patsy. So in a logical flow chart, just because one thing isn't one thing doesn't mean it's not another, and just because one thing is one thing doesn't mean, but how it works. It's just because it precludes one thing doesn't necessarily mean it precludes another. For example, just because there was a shooter on a roof doesn't mean it was him. Just because he was there doesn't mean it was him. Just because there was a shot taken from there doesn't mean there couldn't have been a second shot. Doesn't mean technically there couldn't have been exploding mics. All these different theories. So I'm just going to watch it without further ado. Well, actually, I'm just looking at a couple more people in here. Did you see this? I'm just going to play this. Technically not affiliated directly with InfoWars, but the guy, I did get a press pass to go into the Charlie Kirk Memorial because no one was out there covering it. Rob Dew hooked me up. Didn't make any money from that. They did play it on the show. Harrison played it on the show, my clips, but I'm pretty pumped on this this video here. That's Wars of the Info. He's been making all the 3D, the AI commercials for InfoWars lately, and he did this one, and I was like, "There's no way they're gonna play it on the air." And it was funny because my friend loaned me a golf cart, and they're like, "Oh, I left you some treats," and it turned out they were like edibles. It was these M&Ms. I thought they were M&Ms, but they're M&Ms. And so I was on the golf cart driving around. I'm like, man, this golf cart is so cool. Like it's a whole nother level. But apparently I accidentally ate 600 milligrams of THC. and then I ended up watching this this commercial, and I was like, oh my God, it was so stony like when they played it. But anyway, here it is. I'll play this and then we'll go right into the ink, Carrol. I'm just waiting for a few people to get in here. Bear with me.
Alex and his crew journey to planet Turmeric. Greeted by the leader who offers the golden gift of health, the crew loads the ship with radiant turmeric bound for Earth. Their mission is clear: bring strength, vitality, and balance to the people. From the stars to your home, it's the golden treasure of wellness. Fuel your body, power your future.
Anyway, I dig that. So we'll get into it. We got 130 people in here now. We'll start the show. We'll get it rolling. We'll let Ian do his thing here. Like I said, I wanted to go. There was no money. I was kind of putting it out there to Ryan Matta, kind of hoping I know he has money to fund stuff, and I'm just not independently wealthy. And I was out there with Luke, and he had to get back and do some work. So we just decided to call it even. But as a result, I think Ian, hopefully he got some interviews too, because I definitely would have went stronger on the interviews. I probably would have got so caught up interviewing people that I might not have got all of the actual structural elements that he did. I'd like to think I would, but I know myself, and I probably would get carried away following leads of people talking and doing interviews. So this is very valuable information. And if it proves one of your theories right, or it disproves it, the key is to just take truth as it is, take the information as it comes in. If it happens to disprove one of your pet theories, then, don't cry. There's many other conspiratorial avenues to go down. And if for some unknown crazy reason, it does turn out that kid actually made that text and everything, yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. To me, that's actually one of the most unbelievable parts of the whole thing. So I guess theoretically he could have done it and they just made up the text thread. That's an alternate theory, but I'm not buying it. So here, let's get Ian do his thing here. I'll sit in the corner and I'll do a little commentary. And here he goes.
Specifically to check out this one specific thing. And I'm actually going to increase the size of our screen share on screen here so that it's nice and easy to see. So I had noticed in the footage of the event that there's kind of a little bloop on top of this roof.
Bloop.
And from this far around angle, it's not that obvious. And then when Homeboy, this YouTube account called Life is Driving, was doing interviews, they were live streaming the whole time. It's some of the best footage that we have of the day of the event. And in the footage, it was pretty easy to see this little thing up on the roof. This is all in fast motion. And I just kind of sped through all the interviews he was doing, and then the shot happens.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom right down to your exact address in just seconds. Imagine pulling up your neighborhood, spotting your roof, your street, even the landmarks around you, all in real time from an aerial view. It's like having your own personal window to the world right on your screen. This tool is simple to use. Just type in an address and instantly explore detailed satellite imagery with incredible clarity and precision. Whether you're curious about your home, checking out a vacation spot, or just exploring places you've always wanted to visit, it's all right here. Discover the power of seeing your world from above. Don't just hear about it, experience it. Try this free satellite Earth Maps tool today and see your world like never before.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, I've spent the last 43 years now working with people all over the world in 100 countries.
Sorry about that.
And I
guess
noticed
I don't
in the
have
original
premium.
footage that after the shot
I
happens,
don't know,
the
it's not-
first time that you get to see the roof again, the thing is not there anymore. And then you get a better view, and the thing is definitely not there anymore. The little bloop that was there, it's not there. So is that like a weird angle thing? Because before, it was super obviously there, right? And it looks like maybe it's just a smokestack, like a little exhaust vent or something like that. It's not like it's necessarily even looks like a shooter. I was also looking at the deck to see what's going on there.
Yeah, so in this video, he makes quite a big deal out of this bloop thing, which I will say it is interesting that it does appear to not exist on certain angles. Not exactly sure of the elevation of the different angles or what's going on there. I do have a theory about it, and we'll get to it here in a bit. We'll let him flesh it out a little bit more from his angle.
But it is obvious that after the shot, whatever it was doesn't appear to be there anymore. And so is it by changing angles or getting closer? Did it just go out of sight because of the angle of the roof? That was one of my biggest questions, my own personal question about the scene that I wanted to answer. And I have some answers and some more questions. That being said, there's also a lot of other theories that are floating around that I wanted to kind of check on and see what happened. Chris Martinson put out a really great video the other day analyzing the ballistics and positing maybe another rooftop that we should be examining. And I have details on that rooftop that Chris Martinson was curious about that I think are pretty clear. And a lot of people are looking at side angle shots, and I don't have anything clear on that, but I've got a lot of footage that adds more questions. So I traced the shooter's path and wandered in. Same way. And, there's nothing really like crazy about the route in. It is what it is. We've all seen it. I did have questions about this point in the route where the shooter went through the tunnel and got caught on camera. And if anyone has been wondering why the shooter turned and went through this tunnel where there are cameras, I was starting to suspect maybe the shooter went through the tunnel on purpose, or not the shooter. Like maybe this guy walked in front of those cameras on purpose to leave an intentional trail for the feds to get, right? Like, why go through the camera tunnel when you could just walk across the street? And then I got here and I learned that actually there's a fence across the end of the street. Straight down the road where we're going to turn left to get up to Lossie. Because the shooter turns right here, which is like directly off course. Like you're walking straight down a road into campus and then you turn hard right away from your destination just so you can go down through this tunnel. That seemed very suspicious to me. But part of the reason why we go and look at things in person on the scene is because I got here. Now getting on to UVU property. Okay. And then it just dawned on me. So there's a fence up blocking that road from going through. So maybe that fence was there. And maybe that's why he had to come down into the tunnel. The fence ends right there, right by those trees. And
I will say also that, you know, when we're talking about, let's say, you know, obviously we're all thinking it's a professional hit. This guy's got it all cased out. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's absolutely figured out. But in a, you know, if you're fleeing a murder, you know, I have a feeling not everyone is maybe doing the most logical thing all the time, you know. So there's a point when he's like talking about him running into the forest and he wouldn't go this way. It wouldn't make any sense to do this or do that. I mean, fight or flight when your adrenaline is that high, there is got to be a little leeway depending, what your theory is. If you're maybe going to jump a fence, like he's like, well, you wouldn't go over there because of this or that. And it's like, well, I mean, if I was running for my life, I mean, I might just jump the fence. He says, oh, I wouldn't go in this backyard, but maybe someone else would. I'm just going to put that out there before he goes on. But I do think this is key because a lot of people were saying, why did he go down there? And thanks to Ian Carroll going there, boots on the ground, we actually do know. And he does go up and verify this fence. So let's check that out.
Extends up to the edge of the bushes up right there. So maybe that's a good excuse to come down into this tunnel because the tunnel has security camera. Okay. So much later in that day, where would it be? Right here. I came back and examined that fence from the other side, and it's pretty clear. This fence is not new. It's old from the way that the grass has grown into it and the way that there's a little stoner trail right beside it of people walking around it. So clearly this fence has been here, and that's why we had to go down into the tunnel. So little things like that seem suspicious at first until you're there and you suddenly there are explanations for some things, right? That fence was clearly there the day of, so we had to go down through the tunnel. I went on a Sunday and everything was closed up, so the building that Tyler walked through to get up to the position was locked. There's cops everywhere there now, which is cool. And I met one, hung out with him for a second, tried to give me a little tour, and I was like, nah, bro, I'm not really having it. And so let's get on to some of these first questions. The side of the Losi Center. And I'm not sure if that, I can see the top of Sorensen super clear. So this is a theory that Chris Martinson posited that maybe the angle from the top of Sorensen would make more sense for the shot that came in. I don't feel like if you're a professional, I don't feel like you plan to be on a rooftop out here. There's too many, the thing is the levels make it so there's lots of shots, but they make it so that all the shooting positions are visibly like super out in the open to basically everybody. Especially on a day when there's people all over the place swarming. That seems like a horrible idea. So we're coming up on the other side where he came through the building. It's locked up today. So another rooftop. So one thing that is more clear being here rather than on footage and on Google Maps is it's super weird that there was someone on top of the Woodbury building apparently in the footage, because when you look at the Woodbury building. Do you guys not have audio from my video? So one thing that is more clear being here, and so with no way to get up easily and no way to hide, like I presume that some of the windows open. I presume that roof access is gained through like the little opening of the windows. How's that audio, guys? Very low audio. So what I'm explaining here, here's what I'll do is I'll mute it and I'll just talk to you. is there's all these levels in this campus, and kids were like walking down this stairway behind me on the way to go see, and you can see the whole top of a lot of these rooftops.
All right. Now, I don't know who watched it because I don't know. Apparently, if I don't claim to know that I've blown the lid off the story, or I know for a fact who the shooter is, or I know for a fact, like everyone else does, um, I made a Google Earth image of this entire location, and I broke down this whole thing about this rooftop here in the Woodbury building, about how it is completely overlooked by by this other building behind it. Here, let me give the big screen here. So by this, it's overlooked by this building over here over his shoulder. It's overlooked by this other building here, but over his shoulder. It's overlooked by this building over here. So this Woodbury building, where the person or the object was seen here from this angle right here, I broke that whole thing down and I pointed out that this was really not a great spot. Now, again, you could have had people who are supposed to be legitimate snipers, and this corner back here is, in my opinion, still a possible angle, but again, there's no cover on this roof at all. So yeah, let's just let him break it down. I did actually previously break this down just from Google Earth alone.
Like the Woodbury building, where we had footage that had someone on top of that building, you can see the whole rooftop from here. Clearly, you can see down onto the rooftop, and there's no visible access to the rooftop at all. And so the very fact that there's even like kind of a person up there at all on the day of, like, I almost am questioning whether that really was a person in the footage now, because it would be so visibly obvious to all kinds of people coming down from this upper level to come and see Charlie, that it just is really weird. Once you're there, so there's this thing that footage makes it all look like you're so far away. It makes everything look really distance, because footage compresses everything. The angles of like the lenses do weird distortion, but like that's right in front of you when you're on campus. That is not far. That's like if your buddy was up there on that roof, you could just have a regular conversation with them. You wouldn't even need to shout. You could throw a tennis ball back and forth with them. It's not far away, and it's really easy to see it all in person when you're there. And so it makes it a lot more obvious that like that would, it just doesn't track. It doesn't track. Let me see if I can add some this audio source real quick.
I do apologize. Again, I do not have premium on YouTube. Maybe that's something I need to get, but I don't have a budget. But so here we go back again. Anyway, I'm gonna get involved in some of this stuff. I'm gonna let him cook for a while, and then I'm gonna break down some of what I got from it afterwards. So it's not just watching the clip of the video, but I do, basically say everybody should watch all videos, and I still think people should keep open to alternate theories. So, I think the audio is fine. I don't know what to talk about. All right. So we'll get back to we'll get back to the would be on the edge of the balcony. So again, just up laughing because I've actually there. What's down there? Like, can you get down there? I would have asked him questions. I'm surprised he didn't. Maybe